There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. Some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the East Coast Supercheap Auto V8 Vets series as we come to you tonight from Spa Franchamp in Belgium. I'm John Van Ree with Miss Mark Duggan. How are you, Mark?
Very good, John. Good to be here. Looking forward to some very good racing tonight around a fantastic track.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracker, this one. We've got 36 laps, I believe. It's going to be an absolute flyer for these boys. We've got some cracking times already set here in practice. Looking forward to see how these guys go. I know a few of these boys using this as a hit out for tomorrow night's Pro Series race. We might have a quick look at the track map just to familiarise everyone else as we head into the Ardennes Mountains in the back half of Belgium, up in the hills. And of course, very famous Formula One circuit where we start by heading downhill into uphill into La Source through the tight hairpin, and then we come downhill all the way down through on Rouge and Radillon. The big sweep downhill, one of the most fastest, unique corners in motorsport. And then we head up the big long Camel Straight all the way up to Lacombes through 7, 8 and 9, down through Brussels in 10. Got to get that right to get the power out. Sweep through turn 11, no-name corner, down to Pouon. Very difficult to get the two apexes right there at full speed without going wide and getting an off track. And then we sweep down into Cobbs through 13 and 14 into Stavelot. And then we swing around and we head back up the hill through 16, 17, 18, through Blanchemont, and then back up into the chicane, which is very tight, difficult, through 19, 20, and then back across the start-finish line. This is a unique circuit. This is a tough circuit to get right 100% for 2-minute laps. It's a really good one, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely, John. It's an unusual layout in the fact that it's so fast and flowing, but it's very technical as well in a lot of areas. And like you say, there's a lot of corners that it's very difficult to line up properly at such high speed. And yeah, like you said, John, like getting this right lap after lap is no mean feat. But I expect some of the boys tonight to do a pretty good job of it.
Look, these boys will be on the top of their game tonight. I know a lot of them have been practicing all week, getting ready for the Pro Series. So I think we expect our Pro Series drivers to really give us a good battle tonight. We've got a field of 30-odd cars, so looking forward to seeing how these boys go about their business. And we're already seeing like likes of James Scott, Jordan Ross, Tom Freer, Luke Rosella putting their names at the top of the sheets. So it's going to be a cracking battle, I think, between the 9.5 boys and the SSR boys tonight, with a couple of fishy lads throwing their heads in the ring. Another fishy lad we've got with us on the board at the moment is young Ty Delaney. So it's good to have young Ty building his experience and knowledge of the circuit and of the series. We've got quite a few guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do.
Yeah, we've got a good mix of drivers here tonight. Like you said, like the Pro Series tomorrow night, a lot of the boys in that series will be using this for a good hit out to really push the car, see what they can get away with and what they can't get away with. And yeah, like you said, we've got a good mix of SSR, Fishy, 9.5 Sim Sport. We've got Michael Taliancic in here as well, who's got a lot of experience and is a very good driver. and a few independents as well. So really looking forward to the way this unfolds. Good to see Sean McNamara has jumped in the server as well. So yeah, it should be a very interesting night of racing.
Yeah, all these boys just coming down to the last seconds of practice. It's going to be a tough track to qualify on. I'd be expecting to see a lot of guys trying to tuck in the draft and trying to get on top of this one. And I do know, I think we've got our 30-minute session, I think, that we normally run with. But I do know tomorrow night, I think they're talking about running a 15-minute session due to server maintenance. So it's going to be interesting for the boys. So we'll see what these boys get up to. Seb giving them their briefing at the moment as we wait to see who's going to be first to line up in pit lane. As here they come out now. As expected, James Scott leads out all of the vehicles. And you can hear them all going slowly. I expect this. Big shout out too in the chat. We've got Steve Murray and Pete Callagher already in there.
Yeah, good evening to the boys in the chat. Good to have you with us.
Pete be looking for a little bit of redemption for the SSR boys after split 3 vets on Thursday night. As we continue on up the hill here. So you can see they're all going very slow, all jockeying a little bit, trying to make sure they're in a draft, a little bit of space. So we'll see what these boys do.
Yeah, we've got Tim Mulford at the head of the train at the moment. He's going to be breaking the air, or Jordan Ross is coming through. I expect James Scott to be the one to beat, as we expect every week with James. He's just such a quality driver, and he's always pushing the limits, and he's getting in behind Jordan Ross at the moment. So yeah, a lot of jockeying for positions here. This is where the mind games start on this first out lap of qualifying.
Yeah, it's at a magnificent circuit for the mind games, this one. It's going to be spots where some people will be faster than others. Last thing you want to do is get caught out. And we saw that last year when the Pro Series was here, I think going through Blanchimont, they were 4 wide trying to work out who was going to be first to lead everybody off. I probably wouldn't expect it to be that aggressive here. As one of the 9.5 boys jockeying for position, this is getting really interesting. As I think that might have been Rudd, I think. Just trying to go through my figures here. Of course, not made easy at the moment because I'm not in order. Yeah, it was Dylan Rudd jockeying into a spot.
Of course, with an open setup, you don't know how much wing other drivers are running. I'm sure they'll be fairly similar, but we could see different setups being strong and weak in different parts of the track here tonight.
Yeah, this is what makes this fascinating. As we start lap 1 of our qualifying. As you can see, Jordan Ross leading the field here. Down through the fast flowing on Rouge. Of course, massive changes to the layout actually occurring through that section of the circuit at the moment. I think they're hoping to have it completed by the Formula One season gets there. The new grandstand. And I think they're putting in some sand traps as well at top of Radial. Warboy's already with the 1X, so that puts him out of sequence with everybody.
Yeah, this is a pretty tough track on the iRacing calendar with the off track, so you can mess up real quick around here. It's very difficult to nail a lap at speed without getting an off track here.
And James Scott's just done that. We've given the commentator's curse. James Scott's just pulled out of this lap. So already seeing one person succumbing to that. Jump back on with Jordan. So he's going to be the first one we're going to see come across the line. You can see how they're pushing that picture to see. You can see how they were just pushing it right out to the edge. How you can get caught out with your wheels too far off the circuit. I think O'Shea might have just had one then as well.
Jordan really pushing the limits on some of these exits.
Let's see how he goes. Brian Borg, I think, is another one that's had an off track as well. Of course, with a 2-minute lap, it's a long way around to get it right.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, John. Like, it's not a track you want to be making too many mistakes with off tracks because, like you say, it's a 2-minute lap. It's a long way around to get fresh tyres, and it's a long way back around to do a warm-up lap and then go again. So you're looking at about 6 to 7 minutes to get one flying lap in.
Yeah, time ticking away. Dylan Rudd, O'Shea, Freer, Jordan Ross, Kuznetsov, Borg, Boyd, Ladder, McNamara, Whiting, John Stone, rounding out our top 10 or 11 there. So we can already see a couple of big names ducking into the pits there. We've had Rosella go back in. We've got Drage, Barella, Radu, Rigby, and Adam Briggs in there as well, and James Scott. So a few boys already back in the pits because they haven't made that first flying lap. So the problem now is it puts them out of sequence with everybody else who's going to come out and do that slow out lap. It's going to make it very easy.
And of course, you've got to be careful that you don't balk anybody else on a hot lap because you can end up with a penalty and either a rear of grid or a pit lane start. So a lot of things, a lot of moving parts here to keep an eye on when you're in the cockpit.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of things to keep an eye on.
Good to see the 9.5 boys back here tonight in force. I think last time Rick Kuznetsov was with us at Phillip Island, he had a pretty good run there. I think he got maybe 2 wins or 1 win and a second or something. So good to have Rick back, and I expect a pretty strong showing from him tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having Rick back in the battle here. So the other one I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do, young Ty Delaney. We've been talking about the big boys, the big pro drivers in this championship here, but Ty Delaney, one of the young guys, one of the young kids out there in the iRacing world, trying to cut his way. Of course, he's well known in iRacing, his father is, with Blake. But Ty, I've been watching young Ty, the minnow as I call him to the fishy boys. He's been getting his skills and getting a lot quicker. I suppose when you start talking racing officials and stuff and people beating me, it doesn't take much to do that, but Ty's definitely showing a lot of pace. Let's have a look. Warboys was one on that out of sequence. Let's see, he's going to duck into the pits as well. He's in 7th spot at the moment. Freeman on track. So Thomas Freeman, of course, one of the race winners, another one of the fishy boys.
Yeah, Thomas, a very underrated driver in my view. He's extremely consistent. He's very quick. He's good on tactics. He's got a lot going for him as a driver, and yeah, he's a great asset to that fishy team.
And of course, I've just realised I haven't given Thomas his fishy nickname yet, so I might call him Free Willy. If you're out there listening, Michael Whiting. As of course, he's coming in on his lap. Matty Mascord's got into the serve as well, so the numbers are jumping up a little bit. So everyone's pretty much on their out lap at the moment. So this is where they're all running. Mascord's tucking in behind here. Thought he was on a lap or an in lap, but you can see where everyone's lined up again on this out lap. Someone even taking the grass to get out of the way. Yep. Let's just work our way through the field here. Dylan Rudd, Dylan O'Shea. This is the man sitting on top of the board at the moment. You can see it's a very slow lap. So they're using the clock up.
Yeah, well, as you can see, John, we've already 10 minutes down, and most people have only just completed one hot lap. So just goes to show you how long it does take to get around here.
You know, we're still in a situation where Mulford, Rosella, Davis, Drage, Barella, Brad Radu, Sean Rigby, Vickers, Adam Briggs, Brodie Sentence and James Scott still haven't set a time. So definitely applying the pressure. But looking at a 9.5 train here. This is the Rado Shea Kunetsov show.
I wouldn't want to be on a hot lap coming into some of these traffic jams.
Nah, it's not good. And of course, you've got to be careful how you come into these traffic jams as well, because you are seeing, we did see an incident in the last Pro Series where someone come flying into a traffic jam, causing a lot of into an accident, recklessly drove in, so to speak. And let's see, we did have one of the guys jump in front there. I think that might have been Jordan Ross. No, Jordan Ross is at the back. These boys, anyway, we're on another flyer. Might jump on the nose of Jordan. You can have a look and appreciate the gradient changes of this track. After legging it around Bathurst before Easter, eventually I reckon they'll leg it around this place. If you ever got up in that part of the world and you've got a spare hour and a half to spend, it's well worth putting the heart rate monitor on and going for a walk up the mountain. Jordan looking very smooth here, very composed. Radu just in front of him. You see the car's very twitchy.
I'm sure a few of these boys aren't running much wing tonight.
You're trying to get much pace as you can up that Camel Straight at this place. Got a few boys off track. I think War Boys has been involved in something again, or Barella. 21. Tim Mulford stopped. Got it going again.
Adam Briggs with a big moment as well, so he's had to bail out of his lap, I think.
That's not great for Briggsy. Of course, former champion of the series. See Jordan Ross here, absolutely flying. Very fast, difficult corners to get right. So I'd probably say Radu's just got a 1X there. And he bails out of the lap. What can we see? Dylan Rudd's bailed out of his. Shea's bailed out of his.
James Scott James Scott about to complete. Straight to the top for James Scott.
Wow.
Two purple sectors in that lap.
Wow, that's magnificent to see that. Scott straight to the top. Dylan Rudd still in second. Jordan Ross into third. Rode on board there for that fast one. And then we backed that up with Tom Freer sitting in fourth. Great for Tom. Kunetsov in fifth. O'Shea relegated back to sixth. Then we got Borgie in seven. Jack Boyd in eight. Warboys ninth. Ladder 10th. McNamara in 11th. And the big fish, Michael Whiting, in 12th. So, grid starting to take shape. Johnston in 13th. Paul Young, who's been running up the top in the pointy end. I think he's been qualifying in the top 6 or 7 for the last 2 or 3 weeks. He's sitting back in 14th. That's a bit of an interesting one for me at the moment.
Yeah, and James Scott Dillon Rudd just separated by 3/100ths of a second. So goes to show you how competitive this series is.
Yeah, it definitely does. Looking at the moment, at the wrong information. So just a reminder, so tonight we do have 3 sets of tyres, no compulsory pit stops. Incident every 25, 1 fast repair, and of course the boys are doing 36 laps as well. So it's a straight out distance shoot tonight, and I think this place does occasionally produce a safety car or two. Could be an interesting one. As these boys start winding back towards the pits, we might see if we can find someone who's come out. All boys is in the pits. Craig Schultz, we haven't seen him for a little while. Craig's back tonight. Let's see, Craig, he'll be looking to improve to get himself out of 17th. As we've passed the halfway mark now, with 14 minutes to go in this quali session. I thought he'd straight in the pits. Thomas Freeman. I think most of them are all trying to get themselves back into the pits at the moment. Ash Barella. He hasn't set a time yet. They'd be trying to set a time here, I think. Really one of the back guys towards the rear of the grid running. Oh, he's ducking into the pits as well. Radu coming up. Hill 24. Hayden Vickers on track. So he's the only person at the moment I've got on track setting a quality time. So Hayden at the moment sitting in 24th. We might jump back to the front of the pack as they all come out now for that next round.
It's like pit street, isn't it?
Yep. Who gets themselves in the middle of the traffic jam?
That was always going to
happen.
happen.
An accident. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, I could just see, I think,
It wasn't Whiting. It was Radu, I think.
yeah, I think it was Bradley Radu. He was on a hot lap.
Okay, so his replay, I'll find it stuck in the trees, so we're not going to see it. Yeah, that's not great. Anyway, I'm sure they'll call that one in. As we have a look back at the train here. And I think we've got a car stuck on track as well in Craig Schultz.
I think he damaged his teammate more than anyone else.
Craig's blimping again. Right, definitely a train going here. This is going to be interesting to see how it goes. Just looking where Thomas Freeman is on track. Thomas is not showing up as an outlap, but he's going slow behind these boys. Michael Taliancic from Ascoot, Ty Delaney, Mulford are in the pits at the moment.
So we've still got some big names without lap times yet. Adam Briggs, Luke Rosella, Bradley Radu. Who else? We've got Brody Sentence, Josh Drage, Ash Barella. So there's still a few boys out there that need to lay down a lap.
Drage, of course, sitting in the pits at the moment. Not even sure if he's in the service. Let's go into a car. Jump back on with Briggsy.
Because Radu's got a damaged car, so he's going to have to head back to the pits.
Well, it throws him out of sync with everyone else then, as we talked about before. As the front of this train now is about to get going. Let's jump on. Might keep an eye on Dylan Rudd. Dylan's tucked back a little bit behind James Scott here. As we said, 0.03 of a second is the difference between P2 and P1. The car camera's a little bit quiet today. Not sure what's happened there. Look, oh! Jordan Ross involved with something. Sean McNamara there. We're going to go quick to the Supercheap Auto replay. This is Jordan. Jordan's just got a bit loose. McNamara's off in the kitty litter on the other side. That big slide dropped it right in front of Dylan Rudd. Dylan getting out of the throttle. That's Dylan's lap gone. Jump on with James Scott. It's tucked in behind number 8. And it's tucked in behind Rick Kritsinov.
Yeah, it goes pear-shaped very quickly around here, doesn't it, when everybody's kind of pushing the limits.
That's right, you're all tucked up. Paul Young, the Banter Alliance driver, he's been involved in something as well. He's sitting there in the kitty litter. I didn't see how he got in there. Brian Borg as well, another one. Seeing some of their regular good regular drivers making some minor errors. Looks like Borgie just got a little bit wide there. As we go back to live picks, as boys we're starting to roll in on the timesheet here. Someone else off in the side there, yeah.
Luke Rosella about to lay his lap down, I think. Come straight up into 7th. That was a good lap from Luke.
Yeah. And Kuznetsov into 3. That's a great result for him. James Scott goes quicker. Takes that 0.03 to 0.3. Time that we sort of expect from James these days in quali. So boys working their way back in. Adam Briggs has got a time on the board now. He's got himself into the top 10. That's a good one for Briggsy. He'd be happy with that. Damien Johnstone's into 8th. It's starting to form up quite very tight in that mid-pack. If you sort of have a look at those times there from Boyd, Warboys, Ladder, McNamara, there's really a hair width between those lads. As we try and keep an eye out now for who's on a flyer. Time ticking away, of course. Remember, it's going to take him 2.5 minutes to get out to go around again, so they'd be rushing back here.
Yeah, so we're down to just over 6 minutes to go. So, yeah, they're going to be really pushing it to get another lap in. And, of course, you don't want to take too much out of the tyres on your out lap.
A few starting to come out of the pits. We're starting to see some of the tail enders. Vickers has just come out. I think I just saw Barella's come out as well. He's on an out lap. And He's taking his time. I think Radu's got himself going again as well. So these boys battling away big time. Everyone else back in the pits in the top 15 drivers. You moving slow. Thomas Freeman on a slow out lap. He's the first one to get out before everyone else. Everyone's coming now. I can see Freya's on his way out. Have a look at this. Here we go again. Oh, no, boys. Waiting for someone to be the first to go. Yep.
Need a resident sports psychologist in here tonight, I think.
Oh, jeez. That's... Look at the games have already started. Let's get out of the way. Let them all pass. Luke Rosella. He's the first one there playing the games. Dunstone going past him. Jordan Ross in the mix of this as well. Tucked right up behind Dylan Rudd. Warboy's in the mix there as well. Wow.
I believe Brad Radu's been given a pit lane start. I'm not sure if that was for the accident, but if he was on a hot lap, that would be pretty harsh when he had all that traffic in front of him and he had nowhere to go.
It'll be interesting to see how that was called. And continuing on here, let's have a look at Rick. Where's he sitting in this train? Interesting, we've got some slower guys in front of these boys. So we've got Craig Schultz. I've got him a bit further back, 21. Christian Smart. He's not too far up the road from the pack behind him.
Yeah, getting a little bit interesting here. It's if so they don't get a move on, they won't get another lap in.
It's going to be Tucks and Drakes, isn't it? We did see that in Formula One, I think 2 seasons ago. There we go. Dangerous driving. Post-race review, there we go. Interesting what's happened there. All the 9.5 cars at the front of the train here. Rudd, Kuznetsov, McNamara, O'Shea. As looks like Freeman's going to do the bolt. He's probably worked it out. Got to get up the hill to get there. And not sure he just went past there. Christian Smart, I think. So let's just jump back. There's the rest of them. They've got about 1.5 minutes to go. Get to the top of the hill. And but why that message hasn't cleared, but anyway. Because it's been set to 201 seconds. Sorry. That's 100. 50. Not sure who hit that button there, whether that was Seb or me, but someone had it on a long period of time. It'll go eventually. I might see if I can get rid of it this way. Sorry about this, as we're about to get going here.
Last roll of the dice for these boys. 35 seconds on the clock.
Yeah. And they are away. And I think they're all just going to, they've all managed to get across the line here, which is a good start for them.
Dylan Rudd out front, breaking the air for his teammates.
Surprising. I thought Rudd might have been the guy that sat in second or third. But definitely a long train up the Camel Straight there. So continuing on. Rudd doesn't set any purple times this sector. James Scott came out with a purple sector to start off with. There's one of the boys just peeled off to the back there. I think that was Rudd actually.
There's been a few off tracks already on this one.
I'll just jump back with James Scott quickly. He's at the back of this pack here. Clock's ticked over now, so the guys, this is their last chance. Don't get another attack at it after this. So let's see what we're going to do. Coming up top of the hill. And Rudd goes wide. Ganetsov, though, he's looking quite solid. So is O'Shea behind him. And he's peeled off as well. So a few of them peeling off here. James Scott's going to go over the line. We're going to start seeing any improvers. A lot of the guys going in. Tom Ferrer jumps up. Rosella jumps up. O'Shea relegated back to 7th. Wow. Jack Boyd gets himself into the top 10.
Yeah, great job there from Jack Boyd.
Four boys peels off. Where's Tally? Talienchich has made it over the line. Stewie, he's over the line as well. So it looks like everyone's pretty much across the line now. So we've got a sensational looking grid here. So keep an eye on this as it pans out. But we've got James Scott on pole, followed by Freya, Rosella, Rudd, Kuznetsov, Ross, O'Shea, Boyd, Briggs take out our top 9. And number 10 is Damien Johnstone. So the SSR boys fight back after the top of the schedule being held by James Scott and the rest of them by the 9-5 boys. Battle has been back on as we wait for this clock to tick down so it can go to the grid.
Yeah, we saw Dylan Rudd lead out the 9-5 boys there, but quite a few of them ended up with off tracks on that lap, and it really hurt them in the end because the Synergy Sim Racing boys were able to really nail their lap. So congratulations to James Scott on another pole position and an excellent lap there from Tom Freer as well.
Yeah, Tom came out of the blue there to put it in a second, only by 0.05 of a second as well. So very close time to James as well, as we might just quickly jump on the grid. One car's up in the right spot. Start talking. So on pole we have James Scott from Synergy Sim Racing with a 2:17.394, and alongside him is his teammate Tom Freer, and then his next teammate is in P3 in Luke Rosella, alongside 9-5 Sim Sports Dylan Rudd, and then in row 3 we've got 9-5's Rick Kuznetsov, and alongside him is Jordan Ross from Synergy Sim Racing. Then we've got Dylan O'Shea from 9-5 Sim Sports alongside Jack Boyd from Synergy Sim Racing. We've got our past champion and Adam Briggs sitting in 9th from Synergy Sim Racing alongside his teammate Damien Johnstone. That rounds out our top 10. Then we've got Brian Borg from 95 Sim Sports in 11th alongside WK&P's Blake Warboys in 12th. And over the page, we roll into Kenneth Ladder in 13th from Synergy Sim Racing with 9.5s. Boss Sean McNamara in 14th. The Big Fish Michael Whiting from Fishy Motorsports in 15th alongside Banter Alliance Racing's Paul Young. Michael Taliancic in 17th from Premier Racing. And then we have Michael Freeman from Fishy next to him. Craig Schultz from 9.5. Then we've got Michael Stewart from Hypersonic Racing in 20th. 21st, Christian Smart. 22nd, Sean Rigby. Banter Alliance's Warren Davis in the 007 entry in 23rd alongside the Nova Castrian Matty Masgood from Synergy Sim Racing. And then over the page, we have Ty Delaney, the Minnow from Fishy Motorsports in 25th, alongside Phoenix Racing's Tim Mulford. Then we've got Synergy's Hayden Vickers in 27th. And then we've got 95 Sim Sports, Bradley Ratu in 28th. Sebastian is race control. Brody Sentence didn't set a time. Josh Drayton set a time. Barella didn't set a time. And Richard Barella is our safety car driver. Looks like we're just about set with a very full field tonight.
Yeah, going to be in a very interesting opening lap here, especially up through Air Rouge and up the big long straight there. So start off the line here, very important.
Absolutely going to be important. As we all know, with Spa, getting through La Source is always the most difficult part of starting any race here. Just a quick look. So the track temperature is 30 degrees, so it's not a completely hot track, not completely cold track. Ambient temperature is 19. 26 kilometres of wind blowing in from the southeast, which will make it a little bit interesting for these boys as we head to the grid. And we are getting starting. Radu's in pits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. Lights are out and we are away. Someone's smoking it up in the background there. Not sure who that was. But a little bit of overtake. Looks like James Scott's going to hang on from Tom Freer into that first corner. Going to roll back a little bit here in the pack to make sure everyone gets through. Looks like Warren Davis involved in something. Everyone's through there. We're going to jump down now. 2 wide, lining up into En Rouge. Up over the hill. Now in the slipstream here. Everyone trying to fight for a spot here. Coming up in the Lacones. This is going to be hard braking. 3 wide in the background there. Just going to quickly jump back there to see if they all get through. Looks like they have. Wow, that's impressive driving, boys.
Yeah, relatively clean start for everyone there. They've all done a pretty good job. James Scott got a great launch off the line, and he's just been able to eke out a couple of car lengths, which has kept him safe for that first part of the lap. And if he can stretch his legs here, he should be pretty safe, I think, come the next lap as well.
Yeah, James looks like he's settling in. First lap 1 of 36.
Of course, the other thing you got to remember around here is the slowdowns are pretty brutal as well if you end up with a slowdown for cutting too much track. So got to manage your way around here pretty carefully.
Yeah, those slowdowns on those big long straights absolutely hurt. As Tom Frere's going off, Dylan O'Shea, I think the boys are just using a little bit of liberty there, pushing it wide. James Scott definitely under control here coming up towards the end of lap 1, but definitely a cluster of cars behind Tom Freer. And of course, Tom with his teammate Luke Rosella behind him. And then we drop into Dylan Rudd. Of course, the man who is missing tonight is Brenton Hobson. I know Hobbo's not with us because of a couple of medical things, so I hope you get better, mate. And looking forward to having you back ASAP.
Yeah, shout out to Hobbo. Look after yourself, mate. Rest up, and look forward to seeing you get back here soon.
See there that James has cleared out a little bit.
Yeah, was that a slowdown for Tom Freer there? I saw him. Luke Rosella got past him because Tom was going very slowly.
Yeah, Tom did have an off track, so maybe he might have accrued one. As we said before, managing nose is not a main feat around this place.
And of course, that's all James Scott needed was to get rid of the toe from behind as Tom Freer to get that slowdown, and he's been able to pretty much break the draft now, I think.
He's gone.
That's not the case for everybody behind him.
Nah, it's out to 2 seconds. We continue on. It's going to change towers here. Just bear with me for a second. Get a little bit more information in this one. So yeah, we can definitely see that gap's got out to 2 seconds. But Freer down to Briggs, all nose to tail. And then only a very small gap back then to Johnston and Borg. You can see everybody getting the odd little off track here, in there. But the field relatively compact and relatively together. It might jump down here. Briggs is under a bit of pressure, as we're saying. So,
apart from James Scott, we've got a DRS train pretty much from second position down to about 16th, I think.
There's not much in it. Damien Johnstone now about to latch onto the back of Briggs as well. And then the other guys battling away. Sean McNamara is working his way through, getting past Paul Young there. And Paul also under a bit of pressure from Christian Smart behind. So there's definitely some battles occurring around the place. Just had James Scott with an off track, but I think he's got it back under control.
Brody Sentence, the big mover so far, up 8 spots, which is a pretty great effort after 3 laps or just after 2 laps around Spa.
Yeah, doing very well, young Brody. As you can see, Dylan having a little bit of a look there in the back behind Rosella and Freeman. Rosella and Freer. Of course, still a long way to go. No compulsory pit stops. As we were saying before, boys have only got a set amount of tyres. Only allowed to use 3 sets of tyres. And 36 laps.
I guarantee the only person not fuel saving at the moment is James Scott.
Well, he did let the cat out of the bag post-race last week in the interviews that James Scott does not fuel save. It's, what was the words? It's boring and I don't like it.
Well, I vote with James Scott.
Absolutely. But he's well up the road here. Let's see what Dylan can do coming up into the chicane. The old bus stop.
So the difficult thing for all these boys now is that no one's got a real clear advantage because everybody's getting a tow. The only one that has a disadvantage at the moment is Luke Rosella because he's broken the wind for everybody. But everybody else in that train, it's very difficult to pass because everybody's getting a tow.
This is where you got to be patient. Keep the pressure on the guy in front, looking for that mistake. Very, very tight. Tom Freeman there, right up behind Rosella.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Tom Free is just looking to save some fuel here and maybe get a quick stop done. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's actually making any attempt to pass Luke at any stage. So I'm just wondering if Tom's saving a fair amount of fuel here. I'll put the mocker on the field now. We've had a pretty clean run so far.
Few boys still battling away though. Let's jump back onto the camera. You can see Dylan Rudd still tucked up behind Tom Freer though. They're all using the liberty there of that 1X.
It's all about maintaining that speed if you can without getting an off, not an off track, without getting a slowdown.
Boys battling away. Might just go a bit look down the back. Sean McNamara still in 17th. Still battling away with Michael Taliancic in front of him. Paul Young's dropped a second off the back of these guys. Kenny Latta. Kenneth is in 14th. Still missing that rear boot. He lost early on that lap 1. Got a little bit of a tap from someone at La Source. Sitting behind him is Michael Whiting. As we move up the front, Freya Rosella. Freya's going to get the job done here. He's done that little bit of fuel saving. Time to move on.
Yeah, he had ample speed there to get past Luke. So good job by Tom, and probably going to return the favour to Luke now to save some fuel.
Dylan Rudd looking to get in part of this action as well. So is Kuznetsov sitting behind him and O'Shea. These boys definitely all bunched up here. Jumping in here, this is Jordan Ross. He's sitting back in 9th spot behind Briggs, Boyd, O'Shea. So you can see he's at the back of this train that we've been looking at. He's got a good view of what's in front of him.
Just having a look at Bradley Radu, who we know started from pit lane.
Jack Boyd's just lost a couple of spots there. Where's Radu? Brad's back in 27th. You can see the end of the train.
Yeah, he's starting to make he started a long way back, but he's showing good speed and he's making some good ground.
Going to be up on Josh Strage very quickly here. Only 2 seconds behind. And already past Mulford and Barella, so I'm not sure whether they've all been an incident with them too or not. It's pretty hard tonight with all the off tracks, as we've been seeing the flying, sweeping corner off tracks. Do get a little confusing if they're a real incident or not, so just bear with us. As Rosella now still with Rudd behind. course, lap 6:36 done. So James Scott here's cleared out to a 5-second lead from these boys. Just going to go back, have a look at some of these other battles. Brad Ratu right up behind Josh Drage. Looking to make an overtake. He's a man on a mission at the moment. Gets up the inside. Gets that job done. Jump back on with Brian Borg. He's under a fair bit of pressure with Jack Boyd behind. A big shout out to Joshy Barella watching us on Facebook. Managed to get Ash a little bit of airtime. So moving up, Dylan O'Shea still battling with Adam Briggs. You can see very tight, compact there with Briggs tucked up behind. There's all this train that's still sitting behind Tom Frere.
Yeah, this train is pretty long, and yeah, there's no one's got a real distinct advantage at the moment.
So I've been interested to see what sort of strategies these boys run out here. Of course, got no compulsory pit stops tonight, so it's a free open slather for strategy. But this battle pack absolutely still nose to tail after 7 laps. No one giving an inch.
I think we've lost Matty Mascot. I heard they said he had a bad connection, but it looks like he's dropped from the server now.
Yeah, can't find Matty. Jump back on Tom. Back off Scenic. But the pack's still fairly condensed together. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought they would have spread it out a little bit as the race has gone on. Of course, 230 Ks they're doing as they come up into the bus stop chicane. Might just put the telemetry on Tom for a lap and jump on board. Let you guys all watch. Oh, sorry, I'm going to butt in here. Sean McNamara has crashed. Go to Supercheap Auto Replay. Let's have a look what's happened to Sean coming up into the bus stop chicane. A little bit late on the brakes. He's given Kenneth Ladder a bit of a tap, going straight on. A little bit weird there at the end. Not sure if he might have some equipment issues, maybe. Sean? Not sure what's going on. Jump back to live pictures.
What's happened with Sean there, but I heard Kenneth on the radio asking for race control to look at that one.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be looking at that. Hayden Vickers has had an incident as well in the meantime. Sean's jumped to pits. He's towed without permission. Well, I don't know if he got permission. Vickers just a little bit loose into the hairpin as well. Or into the chicane. And jump back on this front battle. Yeah, I think something what happened to Sean there. Just had that look of equipment failure.
Yeah, it looked a bit odd, didn't it? It just didn't make sense as to the way he speared off into the fence post incident there.
Dylan Rudd having a little bit of a look on Rosella. It looks like Frere's managed to pull out to half a second gap now, 0.6. Wondering whether Rosella might be managing another slowdown. These boys all tightly bunched here still. Not much in it from Ross looking forward. As we climb up the hill through Blanchemont.
Damien Johnson just starting to lose touch with Jordan Ross in front.
Brixie having a look. Looks like he's going to get it done here. No, can't get it done. Opens the door up for Ross. Can Jordan go through? Yes, he has. Some pretty intense racing just through there.
Yeah, high stakes there. It's you roll the dice and you can end up losing pretty quickly. But as Adam found out there, but he's in it to win it, so to speak. So he's out there to race, and that's what he's doing. So good on Adam. He's a former series champion, and he's probably not doing as much racing as he'd like to at the moment, but still giving a good account of himself tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where you can always go 0 to 0. But he pulled it off. Just go back up Rosella. He's definitely lost touch a little bit. I'm talking half a second. Still close enough to get that slipstream though.
Of course, with that bit of battling into the last chicane there, it's allowed Damien Johnson to get back on terms with the boys in front.
I think he's brought Borg and Boyd with him as well, I think. They jumped to this back of this pack now, so you can see these boys starting to get on. Blake Wellboy's in the background there trying to latch on. He's only 1.6 back. And Boyd. They're definitely a fair contest here in the middle of the group. Come back on with Jordan Ross. And you can see, yeah, Briggs now tucked up behind him. Through the fast Blanchemont corner. A great composure here from these boys. Of course, the man on the move, Brody Sentence, he's now up 10 spots in the 20th. Josh Drage and Brad Radu are the other big movers. Radu's up to 7 spots at 21st. Drage is up 7 spots at 24th. And Christian Smart up 5 to 16th. Tom Freeman's up 5 to 13th. They're our big movers. Still a long way to go though. Not even a third of the race distance.
Yeah, we just done 10 laps so far, and it's still a fair distance to go, especially around this track. So a lot to still unfold here, but I reckon these boys will start getting a little bit frustrated in a minute, and we're gonna. Oh, bit of contact there with I think it was Borg and Briggs maybe.
Briggs Borg's a bit further back. Briggs and Boyd.
Briggs and Boyd, sorry.
Yeah.
Borg and Boyd.
Yeah. Just trying
Get
to
it right.
Oh, in a minute. I'm just trying to. Might just see if Supercheap Auto replay might come to the party. I don't think so. I think this is a standard roll it off the corner. Yep, nothing happening there. As you can see, every individual off track I'm going to see tonight. Luke Rosella, he's still sitting in third. Tucked up behind Tom Frere. Warboy's back into 12th, so he's had a slight change of position as well. Borg, I think, was the one that dropped off that train.
For all the fans out there watching, yes, James Scott's still racing. he's a long way up the road. He's about 8 seconds up the road now.
Just crossing the start-finish line now to start lap 11. So definitely a long way up the road from the boys. As we jump on, we're free to make the picture. That's what it looks like in time perspective. Might just jump back. Brian Borg's dropped back a little bit further now. He's back with Michael Whiting. Jack Boyd, Brian Borg. It's come up as an incident again for me. Let's have a look this time. Coming down into Mon Rouge. No, sorry, into the La Source. And Borg into the back of Boyd. So them two haven't finished their stash yet. I'm sure Race Control will be looking at that one. No, definitely.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, that was a very unusual one there from Brian. He did wait for Boyd to go back through, but yeah, very unusual from Brian. He looked like he just completely missed his brake marker there.
Well, there definitely has pace points penalty for Sean McNamara for that contact with Kenneth Ladder that we saw into the chicane. Let's see what else comes with a few other things. Going to go back. Michael Whiting now is in a battle with Borg and Boyd. So the big fish now trying to keep these two lads at bay. And might drop down. Paul Young, for those following along Banter Alliance. He's down in 17th at the moment. Tucked up behind Christian Smart. And of course, incidents 25 points around here, so it'd be interesting to see how some of these boys go towards the end. While following up on people, Ty Delaney, he's in a bit of a battle as well. So he's battling away with Matty Mascord, who's back in the server, and Ash Barella in front of him. Mascord a lap down. These boys battling away. And Dylan O'Shea under a lot of pressure from Adam Briggs now. So this battle for the top 10, well and truly starting to spice up. Briggs has a look. Right up behind, full in that slipstream. Pulls up alongside. Says, thank you very much. I'm taking Lacombe's and I'm off. Bit loose coming out though. Next man up the road is Jordan Ross.
Another great battle on track at the moment is Jack Boyd and Michael Whiting. They've swapped places a few times already on this lap.
Jump back on with these two. Boyd's got past him at this stage.
Not sure what happened with Brian Borg there. He was right with him there a few seconds ago and he's dropped right back. He might possibly ended up with a slowdown.
Yeah, he might have, I think. It's really that much. Little bit up. A little bit for Brian, puts him down 3 spots from where he started. Of course, involved in that incident at La Source, which is waiting to hear from Race Control. Something comes of that. Tom Freer sitting in second, still has Rosella up close behind him. And what I might do is go to another little battle on track. Craig Schultz, man we haven't spoken about a little while, he's tucked up behind Brody Sentence. So Brody up 9 spots at the moment, one of our hard charges.
Yeah, it's been a great drive from Brody. He's only new to the series, but he's doing a sterling job out there tonight to be up 9 spots. Him and Bradley Ratu are the big chargers at the moment. Bradley Ratu starting from pit lane, already made his way into the top 20.
Yeah, nice recovery drive there. And of course, jump back up onto that Adam Briggs battle. There's a few battles starting to form up here. Briggs under a lot of pressure from Dylan O'Shea coming back at him. What can O'Shea do here coming up into Lacones? Not much. Paul Young, he's battling away with Christian Smart. Just trying to keep an eye on where the overtakes are going to come. Christian nicely holding a car width inside there, protecting the corner, allowing for Michael Stewart to pick up onto the back of Young. A good vets battle back there. Of course, these boys battling for 16, 17 and 18. So there's battles everywhere tonight, which is great to see. And we'll jump back up. Our Dylan Rudd's getting on. Former race winner of the series. Dylan battling away very hard here. Sitting in 4th. Hoping to latch on into the good pit stop. See if he can jump the Synergy Sim Racing cars in front of him. As James Scott nearly has it out to 10 seconds. A great drive from James in clean air.
Yeah, James proving you don't need a tow around here to make time.
There's Mike. Jump in the cockpit. Tuck in with Dylan. So you get it right back under 70 Ks to get through La Source. Now you want to get the power in, change it up through the gears. Just shy of 250 Ks, back it off, through on Rouge, use the curb, up through Radion. Try not to take too much curb there because you get a slow down. Then we get on the Camel Straight. Get in the draft. 260, 270. Back it off so you can get into the combs. Bring it back to about 130. Ride through quietly in 3rd there. Head down into Bruslex. Want to hit your braking point. Pull it up. Let it cruise. Be patient. Take your time. Take your time. Wait for the apex. Get on the gas. The no name. There's a curb on the inside. Nicely done. Try not to run too wide again. You get a slow down. Back up the 5th. Then got a redress request for Ash Barella, so I'm not sure who he's contact with. 07 with Ty Delaney. He's continuing on. Out of poo on. See how the tyres get a real workout at this place. Constantly putting side pressure on them if you're not on a long straightaway. 120. Build the speed back up now. Ride the tyres. High speed corner at 175 Ks. Now we head up the hill to Blanchimont. Coming up to the top. Got to lift off the gas here. Roll it through. Nicely done at 230 Ks an hour. Watching the boys in front. Brake it for the bus stop chicane. Get it back to 1st. All the way back to 60 Ks again. Get it out of the second part of the chicane. Back on the gas. Full noise as we head to La Source. That's a lap with 9.5 Sim Sports, Dylan Rudd.
car looked very balanced, as does the SSR car in front. And like you said, John, so much lateral load going through the tyres here. It's very high speed, but very technical as well. So Dylan giving us a great tour around this fantastic Spa circuit.
Yeah, the elevation changes of this place. I was saying in the lead up to the race, it's a place where I'd love to walk around just to get the real feel of the gradients going up and down, especially coming down through on Rouge and up the hill. Seen plenty of photos, but I don't think they do 100% justice. You like Bathurst?
Yeah, the elevation changes here is quite incredible, as you said. Deep in the Ardennes forest, it's a very special place for racing.
James Scott's now out to a 10.7 second lead. Tom Freer, Luke Rosella, Dylan Rudd. This gap's remained fairly stagnant for a while. Jump back on Adam Briggs. He seems to be tucked up under the rear wing of Jordan Ross still. Dylan O'Shea trying to hang on to the back of these boys. These guys now lap 15 of 36. So the tyres getting fairly old. The fuel loads are starting to drop off. So probably starting to see now who's managed the tyres, who hasn't.
This battle from second to about 8th position has been unchanged since lap 1. They have just been nose to tail, lap after lap, very little contact. The only people we've had pass each other, I think, is Tom Freer and Luke Rosella for second and third.
All of them using the liberty of the track limits. I'm going to be intrigued to see how these guys actually wind up at the end of this race. Whether anyone does get a iRacing drive-through. But these boys in this top 10, consummate professionals. I would imagine they'd be managing that very well. Speaking of Bradley Radu, he's just got past Michael Stewart. Next man up the road for him is Paul Young. Nice overtake there.
Been a heck of a drive so far from Bradley Radu. He's, I think it's his first season with us. Hasn't been back in the V8 all that long, and he's back racing with the 9.5 Sim Sport team and doing an absolutely fantastic job. Up 11 spots into 17th after having to start from pit lane.
This back here, Christian Smart now sizing up Michael Stewart. Of course, running the Bale and Stewart Foundation logo as Michael. Get the chance, check out the hashtag, Bin the Blade for Balin.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important cause for youth all around Australia. And yeah, if you get a chance, check out the Bale and Stewart Foundation's website. And if you can, make a donation. And it's got a very important message for young people of Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. And might jump back up to that front pack to see how they're all travelling still. So Rick Knesov. Rick nicely tucked up behind Dylan Rudd. Jordan Ross tucked up behind him. Going to be interesting to see who's been saving fuel, how much time they can pick up in these stops. Who's going to be game to short fill, hoping they can get the fuel to get home, or save the fuel to get home. Of course, another big shout out too to our window banner sponsor, West End Motor Group. Of course, West End Motor Group consists of Too Easy Finance, Parramatta Mazda, Parramatta Isuzu Utes, Parramatta Peugeot Professionals, Parramatta City Haval and Great Wall Motors, Blacktown Mazda, Blacktown City Haval and Great Wall Motors as well. So if you are in that Sydney market for a motor vehicle, make sure you go and talk to the lads at West End Motor Group. And of course, quite a few of these cars donning a few of those sponsors on their liveries as well. There's Rosella now has Rudd tucked right up behind him. We're going to see a move. This group's so bunched up. James Scott out to a 12.5-second gap from these boys. It's a phenomenal effort in 17 laps around this place. Before we start getting into this pit stops, we might take a second. Throw up an ad, of course, for our fantastic sponsor, Supercheap Auto.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
And people who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name. Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super.
Of course, great sponsors to have on board, along with Rebel and BCF and MacPack. Not to mention the pool guys, Vehicle Finance Solutions, and of course, the pool guys from Adelaide and Barella Cabinets and West End Motor Group. These boys still been battling away quite hard. This battle from 2nd to 8th. These guys absolutely cranking in a train here. They've dropped War Boys by 7 seconds now as well. So
yeah, sorry, John. Once Blake lost contact with this freight train, he's very difficult to latch back on. So I was just trying to trawl through some old data to find out some fuel usage around here, and I think it's around about 5 to 5.1 litres a lap. So around lap 22, 23, James Scott will definitely have to come in. These boys behind, depending on how much they've been fuel saving, what lap they might get an extra lap out of their tank.
And of course, this place is also, if someone goes with you, is good for the undercut. But what you don't want to do, if you're a part of this train, is lose it. So it'll be a real who blinks first scenario.
Yeah, I think, well, if I was in this train with only a few more laps of fuel left, I'd be starting to think about trying to get in before the guys in front and see if I can pick up that undercut.
Yeah, definitely some strategies at play. It's Josh Drage is in the pits at the moment. So one of the back markers making the first move. He's been there 92 seconds, so I think he might be actually pulling up stumps maybe. These boys absolutely flying at the moment. As Young and Smart go into the pits. So starting to see a few of these boys blink. Sean.
So we're at the halfway mark here. So some boys are deciding to split this race right in half, and others trying to extend it as much as possible.
I think I'm a bit with you, Mark. I think if you got the fuel, I'd be staying in this pack. Got Rigby in the pits as well, Davis in the pits. So some of the tail midfield guys starting to peel off. Rosella sounding very composed here, not overdriving the car. Car looks very settled.
This has probably been one of the most intense battles I can remember seeing in this series. Like, not a lot of overtaking, but just driving so close to each other for so many laps in a row has got to be taxing on the concentration.
And we're not just talking one or two cars, we're talking 6 cars doing this, or 7 cars. It's just phenomenal. I've seen a few of these guys peel off, get their stops done. So the leader of the cars that have made their first stop, of course, is Damien Johnstone. So Damien's back in 16th at the moment.
Yeah, so Damien was not far off the back of this pack, so it's going to be very interesting to see where he comes out in relation to these guys.
So Ross getting to within 1/10 of Rick in front of him there. That just shows that he has got some speed when he's in that tow. Bit of a battle there, Michael Whiting and Jack Boyd. It's the battle, of course, for 11 and 10. Tom Freeman trying to get involved as well. So a little bit happening. Jack Boyd recovering, of course, from an incident earlier on.
It looks like James Scott heading to the lane.
Yep, James is in. As he's the first one to roll off. And Rudd and Kuznetsov and Jordan Ross have followed. So the train's been split. Punches a big hole in there. Back to Briggs. Be interesting to see if he can close that gap on this lap.
Yeah, like I said, the interesting one for me here is Damien Johnson, and seeing where he comes out in relation, or where he lands in relation to the boys in front of him. He was about a second or two off the back of that freight train, so give us a good idea how much time the undercut's actually worth.
Yeah, going to be intriguing, of course. War Boys, Boyd, Whiting, Freeman and Radu have all rolled off into the pits on this lap as well. So this race now starting to come alive. So Tom Freya, our race leader at the moment. Luke Rosella, 0.4 of a second back. Then we've got a second back to Briggs and O'Shea. Of course, James Scott's come back out in 6th. Where we expected to see him. Dylan Rudd is a few seconds back down the road, about 12 or 11 seconds. So Dylan hasn't made a gap. As you can see, though, Dylan's lost that train that he had before. It'll be interesting to see what happens now. Back at Rick and Jordan behind, he's going to have to really work quite hard here to try and maintain that. Briggs under pressure from O'Shea. Use the F1 analogy. It's hammer time for these boys. Put right up in the Rosella in front of him as they all roll off into the pits. Rosella and Freya go again. So Briggs and O'Shea in. Jack Boyd's been in an incident. Let's have a quick look what's happened to Jack. Looks like he's got a little wide. Little bit of a, trying on the outside in no name. Didn't quite get the job done. And looks like Radu was involved there as well. Getting a little bit loose, trying to avoid. Looks like he got it going, no? So that's another interesting one for race control to look at, maybe.
Yeah, interesting one to unpack there.
So definitely battling along. Steve Murray thinks that Tom Freeman is going to get a drive-through black flag for off tracks by the looks of it, by about lap 28. Unfortunately, with SDK, I don't get to see where everyone's at with their incident points, unfortunately. But a few of these boys have raked up some big numbers in the SDK off tracks.
Yeah, I think we'll find that they'll start behaving themselves with about 5 or 6 laps to go, and they'll show you how cleanly they can drive this track.
So Jordan Ross has tucked up behind Rick Konetsov. Dylan O'Shea tucked up behind Ross. Briggs is just behind these boys. So O'Shea getting the jump on Briggs there. Again. And Luke Rosella putting the pressure right up now on Tom Freya. Goes the dive on the inside into the bus stop chicane. Gets the job done as they both duck into the pits. So now the clock is on. As coming up into Blanchimont is our real life leader, James Scott. And James going to roll through here, I think, quite comfortably as he crosses the line to start lap 24, I believe. 23, sorry. And takes over as our race leader. So we can see where Freeman and Rosella come out. Haven't even started rolling yet. Dylan Rudd's going to go through. Netsovs is going to go through. Ross, O'Shea, Briggs have all gone through. I thought this might happen with them going that little bit longer. But what you got to remember is they're going to have tyres at the end that are 2 or 3 laps younger than these boys. But they're going to have to make them work as Rosella rolls out. And he is a good 1.5 seconds behind these boys. Jordan Ross under a bit of pressure here from O'Shea. Tetsov goes across to try and give him a hand there, by the looks. Get him past.
Not sure what happened with Tom Freer there, but he's nowhere near Luke Rosella anymore, and he's dropped all the way down to 12th spot.
Let's see if I can see something on my screen. Not sure, unless he picked up a pit lane penalty of some sort or overfilled the car. But our train of 6 is now a train of 4. And Dylan Rudd's managed to get out of the slipstream from these boys. So it's up to the pack of 4 to hunt down Rudd in front if they want to knock on the door for the podium. Lap 23 of 36. Gap is definitely closing.
Yeah, Dunno, just looking back at Tom Freer's pit stop, he went up on the jacks twice, so not sure if he didn't put enough fuel in the first time or had a bit of a technical issue trying to get fuel in the car, but anyway, it was a pretty poor stop.
Well, it definitely hurts when you get relegated from what was effectively a podium position down to 12th. Of course, Brad Radu, with that pit lane start, has managed to get himself up 15 spots into 13th. And our other big mover is Brodie Sentence. He's up into 19th, up 11 spots. And Thomas Freeman has managed to get himself into the top 10 by coming up 8 spots.
Yeah, some great positions gained there from some drivers, but yeah, what about Bradley Radu? Up into 13th at the moment, up 15 spots after starting pit lane, so that's an extraordinary drive from Bradley.
Yeah, he's definitely fought back from diversity of his qualifying. Definitely showing some good pace. Briggs tucked up behind Ross still, behind O'Shea, behind Kuznetsov. These boys definitely are pushing, and you can sort of see Luke Rosella close that gap down a little bit. So he's definitely pushing hard to get onto the back of Briggs. We'll see if he can manage to get there. He's going to jump on the Brodie Sentence up alongside Michael Stewart. Nicely gets it out of the way going into Lacombe's. And next man up the road for him is Christian Smart and Paul Young. Them two boys in a good battle as well. There's still some good battle packs around the place. Kenny Ladder just behind these guys.
Yeah, Ken's had a bit of a tough night. He's down 7 spots from where he started, but I'm sure he'll pick off a few drivers before this race winds down. And yeah, Paul Young, a little bit out of sorts tonight. We're used to seeing Paul well inside the top 10, but currently sitting in 16th, which is right where he qualified. So not going backwards, but not going forwards either.
Definitely plenty of battling on the track still. Just drop back up to this podium battle. So Dylan Rudd keeping that 1.5 second gap. He's keeping those clean heels. And then we have Kuznetsov, O'Shea, Ross, Briggs. And Luke Rosella has halved that distance. So he's going to latch onto the back of these boys very shortly too, I think. But one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass. Particularly, particularly with a slipstream.
Yeah, when the boys in front are getting a tow as well, it makes it very difficult to get the job done.
to lap 25 or 36 here. Haven't seen a safety car. Of course, sponsored by Vehicle Finance Solutions as the safety car. Going to jump back on with Kenneth Lutter. He's definitely tucked right up behind Michael Stewart now.
Of course, these two boys do plenty of racing on a Thursday night together as well in the V8 Veteran Series, so they know each other's driving pretty well.
Let's jump back up again. Snetsov, that gap's closed. He's got 0.2 out of Rudd. And with this group, we have Luke Rosella joining the tail. And I'm drive-through penalty for Jack Boyd for an unsafe rejoin. That must be that incident back at No Name that we saw before.
That was the one with Brian Borgen, Bob.
Yeah, I think so. Running up the Camel Straight. No one's going to make a move yet. We'll wait a couple of laps before you show your cards, I think, around this close. After your tyres. Have the car in the best nick at the end and have your fuel in the best nick at the end. Definitely battling away, these boys. Some other battles. Christian Smart right up behind Paul Young. Pushing the limits there as well. Hopefully not getting a slowdown. Brody Sentence in the battle here as well. The man, he's up 13 spots. It's a great drive. Keep battling through. The other little battle we got going on, of course, is Brad Radu, Michael Whiting and Tom Freer. So definitely working your way there, and then going to go back up to that front battle again. That gap to Kuznetsov to Rudd is now down to 1 second. And O'Shea, of course, on the back of this pack now. Of course, Dylan Rudd been running around on his own, not getting any aero help. What effect has this had on his tyres? What effect has it had on the car? Fuel consumption. It's all going to be revealed, I think, over the next 7 laps.
Yeah, Dylan's showing pretty good pace here, but as we've seen before, Rick Kuznetsov is extremely fast and just slowly edging his way towards the back of Dylan. So, yeah, like if Rick gets there, I don't think Dylan will be able to hold him back up along these big long straights.
No, I don't think so either. But all's going to be revealed shortly because Rick is now within the distance of the draft. You can see that quickly that gap closes coming up the hill. And of course, Rick bringing along with him O'Shea, Ross, Briggs and Rosella. And continuing along here, staying with this battle pack for a little bit, just to see if, as he comes through Stavilo, seeing if he can get it up the hill, get that toe and see how it ends up. So our top 10 at the moment: Scott, Rudd, Kuznetsov, O'Shea, Ross, Briggs, Rosella, and then 9 seconds back to Johnston, and then 10 seconds back to Warboys, and then 4 seconds back to Freeman. So, as we said earlier, once you lost this train, you're going to drop off the pack a bit. That's what's happened to a few of these boys. But we're expecting to see some real fireworks out of these guys over the next couple of laps. So Dylan. See that gap there? Those boys can see him. Coming down the hill to En Rouge. Then lift. You can see these boys closing fast. Gap's gone 0.2 of a second in down the Camel Straight.
Visibly, you can see that gap shrink now.
Matty Mascoot's joined us in the chat to tell us he hates Optus. I think he's just dropped out a second time. So the gap definitely shrinking there. As Thomas Freeman has been passed by Tom Freo. That little battle unfolding. Going to jump back to that smart battle. 2 wide in En Rouge. The ball managed to get out the other end. 3 wide up Camel Straight. Oh, this ain't going to end well. That is some good driving. Christian Smart holds them all off still. Now getting towards the dying. Oh, there we go. It's a bit of a tap. Sentence pushed off into the gravel, coming out of Lacombs. Not sure who it was in the background that gave him the little nudge. But definitely all happening. Going to jump back up the front as well because it's close up here again now.
It looked like Kenny Ladder involved in that one.
Oh,
Teammates touch.
Oh no! This opens the door up. Jordan Ross manages to go side by side through here, coming out of the bus stop chicane. 2 wide, heading down to La Source. Is Briggs going to go through in this gap as well?
Not what you want to see is teammates touching like that.
I believe the 9-5ers have the Red Bull line. It's all racing. But you still don't touch your teammate. Hey, that changes the order a little bit. Gives Dylan Rudd a little bit of breathing space now. He was the big winner out of that. As Rick gets back in behind Ross this time. Snetsov has Briggs, O'Shea behind, and Rosella. I don't think this is the last we're going to see from this pack trying to do desperate overtakes.
No, it felt like Rick Kuznetsov there didn't want to show his cards to Jordan up the Camel Straight, so Jordan's the one left to lead this train around now.
Yeah, definitely going to get interesting now, I think. Try to keep our eyes on some of these other battles, but this is the main one.
Yep, this is the battle for the podium places here, and we've got just over 7 laps to go, so still a little bit to unfold and still a lot of kilometres of racing to go yet. 7 laps doesn't sound like long, but around here it's a fair distance.
Definitely going to be some more overtakes, I think. Someone's gone wide. That looks like it was O'Shea. O'Shea's taken the long way around. Coming up. He's going to get passed by Rosella. So that was an interesting mistake by O'Shea. Didn't expect to see Dylan do that one. Let's just jump back to the Supercheap Auto replay. So coming out wide there, dropped a little bit off the back with all the stuff that had happened. Then he's off, way off there. So a little bit too much power to try and catch on. There we go, drive through with Kenneth Ladder for the Brody sentence incident at Lacombe's. But yeah, you can sort of see that's cost O'Shea a fair bit. Doesn't take much around his place. It's just a simple little mistake. You're going to lose spots or time. As Jordan Ross managed to pull out to a 0.6 second gap now. It's closed up on Dylan Rudd. He's managed to get half a second back on him. And Adam Briggs and Rick Kuznetsov. Rick blocking there to try and prevent the overtake. O'Shea, he's on the back of the train now. He's managed to get himself back in after that off track. They're definitely closing in very quickly. Ross has got that gap to 1.4. But what he's done is he's nearly pulled out a second on Rick. Rick, I think, being a little bit defensive to the boys behind, may lose that draft.
Yeah, Rick fighting really hard to keep Adam Biggs at bay here at the moment. And that's given Jordan Ross a little bit of breathing space. And if Jordan can pick up that toe off Dylan, I think we'll see him close down Dylan fairly quickly.
That gap's closed down another 0.1. Almost 0.2 this lap. As we roll through the bus stop chicane. On lap 31 now, boys.
Just on 6 laps to go.
All of them doing consistent times. The last lap for Rudd was a 2:20.24. Ross was a 2:20.01. Ross was the quickest man on track that lap. He was 0.05 faster than the man out in front, James Scott. So we head up the Camel Straight again. What will O'Shea do? He has a look on Rosella and gets the job done. Plenty of pace in that car of Dylan O'Shea's. Yeah, got to agree with you, Hubbo. Ross the boss has definitely driven a good race. Someone had to make up for your absence, mate. Just saying. As Adam Briggs now, I reckon Adam's just about going to show his hand here and have a crack at Kuznetsov. Two great combatants behind them in Rosella and O'Shea. Those two young guys will never leave you wondering.
This is a pretty intense battle with Adam Briggs and Rick Kuznetsov at the moment. Adam really fighting riding as hard as he can to try and force an error from Rick, but Rick holding strong at the moment. And this has played right into Jordan's hand, who's, like Hobbo said, has driven a brilliant race so far tonight.
Yeah, definitely battling away very hard. It'd be interesting to talk to some of these guys afterwards. Definitely a good hit out for tomorrow night for some of these blokes. The intensity very high in this group. Jordan Ross, that gap's gone out a fraction now to, sorry, it's closed a fraction now. He's got it down to just over a second. And he's definitely got clean air on Rick.
Yeah, Jordan was about 0.3 of a second quicker than Dylan Rudd on that lap, so that gap is starting to close fairly quickly. With Adam Briggs getting a poor exit out of Air Rouge. Oh, and they've touched on the back on Camel Straight. Not sure if Adam had a slowdown or something there.
Not sure either. As Luke Rosella jumps on O'Shea, maybe O'Shea had the slowdown. Not quite sure what's going on.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's why he had so much speed on Adam.
O'Shea's just dropped the second off the pack of these boys. So, we've had a great battle. They're starting to spread out a little bit. Still got three together. Still got Rick, Adam and Rose very tightly tucked up together here. Rosella's been showing a fair bit of speed this evening as well. A little bit wide there from Briggs has let Rosella through. Maybe that was a bit of team orders.
I think Adam just lost a little bit of momentum, and of course Luke Rosella doesn't need a second invite to put his nose up there, and teammate or not, he was going to make that move, and he's done it successfully. And it'll be interesting to see if he can latch onto the back of Rich Kuznetsov now and make a move in the dying stages with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, definitely getting towards the end. And I don't think we've seen the end of the overtakes.
And if we look at Jordan Ross, he's almost right on the back of Dylan Rudd in front now. So doing an absolutely fantastic job.
Hobo reminding us that there's no team orders. But I think Jordan Ross will be having a good crack here in a lap's time. Great drive from Jordan. Memory serves me correct. I think he did very well here last year in the Pro Series. So I think this is a track he likes driving at. But definitely showing that. Sorry, Mark.
No, you're good, John. I'm just intrigued with all these battles going on here, with Jordan closing in on Dylan quickly, and now Luke Rosella starting to find his way to the back of Kuznetsov. So still a few things to unfold in the last 3 laps.
Yeah, Briggs now tucked right back up behind O'Shea as well. Dylan Rudd definitely under a bit of pressure now. Of course, these boys have been taking some liberties with these off tracks. As we said, they'd be trying to manage them towards the end, but now you've got to manage it and battle. That makes it just that little bit harder. What can Jordan Ross do here? And the brakes. As I said, Dylan Rudd's been out by himself for a fair while. Ross spent most of the second stint tucked up in traffic. We're going to see now who's looked after their tyres, who's looked after their fuel loads. Not much in this. Lap 34 or 36. Only 3 more times up the Camel Straight. Good exit there from Ross. See now being sucked along. Probably not quite close enough this time through. There's Ty Delaney off to the side there, being lapped. Gonna jump back to Briggs and Kuznetsov. Briggs has got through there. Oh, that's some panel rubbing again. Oh, that's not a good one. Leave that one for race control. We might just quickly, we can, see if we can have a look at that. Supercheap auto replay, and of course we're behind the trees. Coming out of Lacombe's. A little bit of movement and stuff, but yeah, not 100% certain. That's why I'm not race control.
Yeah, I saw a couple of turns before that. I think it was Luke Rosella and Rick Kuznetsov touch panels, and then that made Rick a little bit vulnerable. So, yeah, not surprising that he got swept up a little bit there.
And continuing on. Still on with Dylan Rudd. He's managed to keep that gap back out to 5.5 of a second. So it'll be interesting to see as we start the penultimate lap. Well, James Scott's already started the penultimate lap. He's 16 seconds up the road from these boys.
Yeah, if any of these boys have got any off tracks left in their kit, I'm sure they'll be using them. And Dylan with a big wide exit there.
Just trying to remember if you get a slow then if you go that wide.
Yeah, kind of. That's what I was wondering myself. But he doesn't appear to be lifting anywhere at the moment.
As we come up the Camel Straight here for the second last time. A good old 9.5 Sim Sports Synergy battle. Jordan Ross in third, Dylan Rudd second, James Scott 16 seconds up the road from these boys in first. Then we got Rosella and O'Shea behind. Hobbo agreeing that James is doing James things again. Yep. This time Ross goes wide. Looks like these boys have still got a few off tracks up their sleeve. There's not much happening with this one here. Might go back, just check out O'Shea. He's still tucked up behind Rosella. Definitely an epic battle. Dylan Rudd's done well though. Best of the rest after James Scott.
Yeah, Dylan's done an exceptional job. Jay Ross has latched onto the back of him, but Dylan Rudd has been more than up for the fight at this stage, with Jay Ross showing that he's still got a few off tracks up his sleeve. Big lock up there from Jordan Ross.
Oh, start the final lap. This is the last chance. It's going to drop back to that Rosella battle. That looks a bit closer again. Of course, this is the battle for fourth. As you see, keep an eye on these times. O'Shea under a second tucked up behind. What can he do coming up the hill here? A swerve. Moves. Keeps him on the inside. Gets the job done. O'Shea in front of Rosella still. Adam Briggs latching onto the back of this. Going to jump back up. Jordan Ross, that gap's 1.6, so that's spread itself out. That's settled down, I think. I think our podium is sorted. Just going to quickly jump down. Other guy under a bit of pressure on this last lap is Brody Sentence. We'll keep an eye on how he ends up. So Dylan O'Shea as Rosella, 0.2 behind him. Jordan Ross has crashed.
I heard something hit the fence very hard there. I'm not sure what's going on with Jordan.
Jump on Supercheap Auto replay. He's gone into poo on. It snapped on him. Bang. That is disappointing. Wow. That is that is tear stuff. That is throw the toys out of the cot.
Yeah, what a shame for Jordan Ross.
Feel for him. Keep an eye on this battle here as it gets closer, but he's going to jump on this man here as he gets the job done. That is another race win for James Scott. Going to jump back on that Rosella battle. This is the last chance coming in. Big dive. Everyone gets it pulled up. Nothing silly. And they all get it done. That's going to be a very tight finish. As the boys start to play, James Scott, Dylan Rudd in second. O'Shea rounds out the podium. So,
yeah, sorry, John, it goes to show you how important that last pass up the Camel Straight was for Dylan O'Shea.
Absolutely. Adam Briggs brings it home in fifth. Rick Kuznetsov in sixth. Damien Johnstone in seventh. Warboys in eighth. Thomas Freeman up 9 spots in ninth. Rounding out our top 10 is Brad Ratu, up 18 spots. Michael Whiting is up 4. Tom Freeman ended up 12th after that pit stop. Michael Taliancic in 13th. Jack Boyd 14th. And Paul Young in 15th. Christian Smart home in 16th. A good drive by Christian in the end. He's up 5 spots. Jordan Ross got it going again. He's limping at home. Disappointingly, he's just been knocked off by Craig Schultz. He's going to wind up 18th after being a certain P3 on the podium. I think that'll be a bit disappointing for the SSR boys. Kenneth Ladder in 19th, Sean Rigby 20th, Brody Sentence 21, Davis 22, and Mulford rounds it out. And Ty Delaney, Stewie and Ty Delaney. So just going to quickly jump to a last lap incident for Michael Stewart just to see what that was while we think about who's our driver of the day. Oh, well, that's gone slow-mo. I think he's run out of fuel. Oh, poor Stewie.
Yeah, what a shame. There's no coasting around here to a final lap.
It's all uphill to get home, isn't it?
And what a shame for Jordan Ross. I don't know if he had an equipment failure there. I saw him wiggling the wheel quite a bit. So, yeah, bad luck for Jordan.
Might just go have a second look at that. Yeah, we might go have a look at that from the far chase. Jump back on the replay. And while I'm doing that, we'll have to think about who our driver of the day is. Just jump on this. It was in the slow motion here. So he's come into poo on. Doesn't appear to catch the grass. Just gets a little bit loose and snaps back the other way. So
yeah, just watching him post incident, it just looked like he was just wiggling the wheel around like there was something not right. So I'm not sure.
James might be able to just join us. James might be able to enlighten us. Is there any issues with JR's wheel?
Yeah, there is. He's got big dramas. I actually had the same wheel as him not that long ago, and I was having pretty similar issues. So there is an issue, and yeah, if we can get it sorted.
Yeah, well, definitely considering it's pro tomorrow night.
Yeah, I didn't have any luck getting mine fixed, so I have a new one. So I don't know if he'll have any luck with it. But hopefully he can get it sorted. Maybe for the next round after that.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. It was not what we expected to see in the last lap. It looked like he'd started to coast himself in for that P3 spot. He had a nice gap to the boys behind, and he'd sort of allowed Dylan to get back out to a second. So, yeah, mate.
Yeah, something to do with this force feedback, I think.
Yeah.
It seems cutting in and out, but it makes it hard.
Yeah, mate, you're the man of the moment. That was a very convincing drive in the end.
Yeah, probably didn't expect that, to be honest, having being such a draft-dependent track. I got a pretty average start, to be honest. I didn't get any start practice really, so didn't know what to expect, but it was pretty average. But then I got a really good run up Eau Rouge on the first lap, and I sort of had, I think it was 7/10 back to Tom, and I really just put my head down for that lap, and then one after that, and yeah, I was lucky enough to be able to pretty much break the draft. That really set up my night, really, those 2-3 laps.
Yeah, it definitely set you up. And I suppose put you in good stead for tomorrow night.
Yeah, for sure. I still don't know really where I stand. I didn't really have to push mega hard. Sort of once I got out to the lead there. But so there's still a little bit more in it. But yeah, no, hopefully we can stay out of the drama and have a good result tomorrow.
Absolutely. Good luck with that one, mate. Just a quick one, Mark. Drive of the day.
Bradley Radu.
No worries. Definitely. Probably, well, I've still got you. There's probably a good chance. I was hoping we'd have Jordan in the night to do this for you. Give your shout outs to, mate.
He coincidentally had a wheel drama, so he didn't have to do it, I think.
Oh, he was pretending, was he?
Yeah, I reckon.
Oh, I was already lining up for it, so I was looking forward to handing it over to him.
Yeah, he read your mind and thought he'd fake a wheel drama.
I'm sure we'll hear about it all later.
Always got an excuse, that bloke.
So anyway, you want to rattle them off?
But yeah, in all seriousness, Jordan's Watercraft Performance Centre. If you need a jet ski, go hit him up. Parramatta Isuzu, West End Motor Group. Obviously, go hit them up if you need a new car. Works Racing Components. Dr. Epoxy. And I think I've probably missed some, but I think I'd know it by now. I think that's the main one. So, Too Easy Finance as well. Can't forget those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, and all the guys at SSR, the car feels really good. So I have to thank those guys as well.
And a question thrown in from the chat, mate. How many off tracks did you have?
3.
3 left or 3 total?
3 total.
3 total. There you go. Using all the 0 ones.
Yeah, there was. I don't know. I'd probably would have used more if it was battling, but I don't know. Once you get into clean air with the sort of revised the track a bit, with where the off tracks are, so they're. I'm not saying hard to get, but they're a lot easier to stay away from than what they once were here.
Oh, that's good. The other man who's just joined us in the chat is our driver of the day, starting from pit lane and getting himself up 18 spots into the top 10. Brad Radu. How are you, Brad?
Good, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. That was a fair drive to get yourself back up into it.
Yeah, pretty good drive. I felt pretty comfortable throughout. I think there was only really one mistake that I made. That was sort of in the last sort of 10 laps. I just pinched the front trying to pass. I think it was Michael Whiting, and I just ran off the road to avoid him and copped a pretty big slowdown for it.
It's always a problem, the old slowdowns around this place. Want to manage them. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, mate?
Of course, my team, first of all. They do a lot of work behind the scenes. We all do. And obviously our sponsors, Racecraft, RK Simulations, Turn and Apparel, Cutting Edge Tracks, and RSW Graphics.
Too easy. So I haven't got the two Dylans, so I might just move on. So I think next week, just trying to confirm where we are next week. I think
Sandown, I think. Maybe?
I think it's Sandown, yeah. Then we've got the I think it's Sandown next week, and then we've got to squeeze a track in there somewhere. So I'll sort that one out with Ash.
I think there's Indy Road somewhere in there as well, I think.
Indy Road is round 7 on the 30th, so I've buggered up something in that chart. But anyway, so we'll be back next week, of course, at 8 o'clock. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to, Mark?
Nah, just big congrats to James. Put on a masterclass again tonight, and I thought, Brad's drive tonight was a bit of a case of what might have been, because to make 18 spots up in a field like that is pretty tough to do, and he's drove an exceptional race. So be good to see him up there in qualifying and sticking it to the front guys. But yeah, another masterclass from James, and pretty good race from second back. It was like James had a lonely one, but second back kept us entertained all night.
Second back to 8 there for a long time. And well done, of course, too, to the two Dylans for making the podium in second and third. And big shout out, of course, to the drivers. They're the ones that keep it entertaining and keep it real for us. And big shout out, of course, to Race Control and the league admins. And, of course, to you, Mark, because you come and join me. Not here next week, but you come and join me and do such a fantastic job. You make it enjoyable to come and do these broadcasts. And on that note, we will see everybody again next week.
Cheers, boys. Cheers, John.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well,